England, that was your goal, the goal that you scored for England, your only England goal, actually, wasn't it? I suppose you cherished that above all others. No, okay, maybe not. but it was 2001, wasn't it? England's last visit to Tirana. I mean, it was a crucial game. It was a World Cup qualifier. It was away against Albania. England won it by 3-1. Michael Owen was in the team. Heskey was in the team. You were in the team that day. What were your memories of going on that trip? I suppose, was Sven in charge then?
Yes, he was, yeah. I think when you go to places like Albania, you always expect a tough game. You know, we can talk about, of course England have better players, you know, but they make it very difficult for you. And it was no different to playing any other England international. Made it tough. You know, we played... England played well enough to get themselves the result, and that was the most important thing.
I was looking back at the match, and I think the pitch was a pitch okay. It was a bit dodgy, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a bit.
Did it cause a few problems?
It did do, because don't forget, you know, the way England want to play is playing in the Premier League. Pitches are like carpet, so when you do play on a pitch like that, it sets you a little bit off key. Because you're expecting a bad bounce or whatever it is. So, you got to get used to that. So it takes a little bit of time.
Scholes was in that team as well.
Played centre midfield.
Yeah, it was
Arch.
Yeah.
It was a team maybe at its. Well, I suppose we all thought it was a team that was coming to its peak. Really, there's a part of that golden generation that was starting to get to its peak level. It never quite really kicked off like that, did it?
See, I always have this debate when people say golden.
Yeah.
You know, we had some fantastic players, and I'll be the first one to put my hands up. But we weren't a golden generation because we never won anything. You know, that's when it's golden. You know, and numerous people say, "Oh, golden generation." It can't be. You know, quality players. Of course, we had loads of those, and a lot of teams actually feared England. But I think when we got to big tournaments, I think a lot of the European teams, i.e. the Germans, always believed that, you know, we would choke at some stage.
Because this is the same qualification period in which England dismantled Germany in Munich 5-1.
Yes. Yeah, it was. I was there that evening. England played very, very well. You know, extremely well. And for that night, you know, Germany won a match for England. You know, and we deserved it.
But Germany went to the World Cup final and we didn't.
Yeah. Those are things that happen.
Yeah.
You know, and I think sometimes when England play in a game like that and beat Germany 5-1, we make a big hoo-ha about it, naturally. And then when it comes to a major tournament, a team like Germany go on to the final and win it, and we get knocked out in the semis.
So on the Albania game, you haven't, like as Jonathan Pearce said, you haven't scored, I think, 12 games, whatever it was. So you create the second goal. What are you doing out on the left wing? What's all that about?
I was just showing my footballing skills.
You're using the left channel, weren't you?
Yeah, Paul Scholes is playing centre midfield, so there's no one else to go out there.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's all about being creative.
But when you get to the byline and you cross it, and it's a 2-yard tap in for Scholes, right? Is there a bit you're thinking, oh, mate, no, that should be me tapping it?
No, not at all. I think for me, when I did play in Scholes playing midfield, I used to love it, you know, because
his vision.
Yeah, and he knew what I wanted, and I mean, I didn't. Half the time, I didn't really have to look at him, you know, because he knew what I wanted. So yeah, I think playing in that game, you know, fortunate for me, I set Scholes up for the second one, and then I end up getting a third one.
Good finish though. The goal, again, it comes from the left, but you let it roll across, so that doesn't look like someone who's tense. You know, when you think, oh, strikers do get tense sometimes.
Yeah.
But that was just, as you let it roll across, you open out and you hit it with your right foot. Some people would have gone with the left, wouldn't they? But you had that just split second of confidence to let it roll across your body.
Yeah. I'll be brutally honest. Playing for England and you go on that little run, you don't score goals. I was never ever fazed by it. I think the most disappointing thing for me was you play possibly 2 games. You know, then you'll be left out, you'll be on the bench, you come on for 15 minutes, and that gets counted against you as an appearance. And when people start to, it took him 15 appearances to get a goal. Well, if I started 15 games and I hadn't scored, I told myself, man, that's not very good.
Yeah, some of them would have been sub appearances.
Exactly. You know, so when people, he couldn't score goals for England, I laugh even more now as I get older. Because I've always said, and I will always maintain, you know, when you're playing Champions League football every other week, you're playing against the best in Europe anyway, you know. And if I'm scoring in that competition, don't ever try
It's
and
only
tell
same
me.
players.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's only same international players, isn't
But
it? Yeah.
probably
And
in
that's what I
better
look at.
teams
Better.
sometimes.
Well,
Yeah.
as you get to the quarters and semi-finals of the Champions League, they're probably better teams than a lot of the international teams.
Let me
There you
ask you
go.
what it was like to go to Albania in 2001, because we're not going to Albania because we can't. I mean, we're not allowed to travel at the moment, and it's too difficult for us to get there and get back in the current circumstances. But England will go there. What was it like in terms of getting to the airport and the hospitality, and was it a comfortable environment? Did they make it comfortable for you? 'Cause I, just out of being a geek, I've never been to Tirana. It's somewhere I've always wanted to have a look round.
What I can remember, it was different. You know, very, very different. Is that you see when you travel?
Does that unsettle you as a player, or does it not bother you at all?
It never really bothered me, because I look at things like that as an experience.
Mm.
You know, when are you ever going to go to places like Albania? You know,
Well, exactly. I've been to Ekaterinburg. I'm never going back there again. I wouldn't have thought.
So you have the opportunity to look at a different culture and see how other people live. Yeah, it was an eye-opening experience. Of course it's going to be. But what you got to understand as well is that we're in and out. You go in for a day or whatever. You got that day there, you
Train
play
on
the
pitch.
game.
Did you train on the pitch? Yeah.
Yeah.
Train at the stadium.
And then boom.